Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hocking Hills Garage. So today we're going to start some of the interior work on this project Cabriolet. Stay tuned. So it is a nice rainy day here in the Hocking Hills. I've been sick this last week, haven't done much on this thing. I got a few parts in the mail. Most of that was an oil pressure, spoilage, dipstick tube mounting tube, and also the tracks for these seats. If you notice this passenger one, just rocks away. I actually have the new clips that go on the tracks of those to keep them from rocking back and forth. Makes them a lot easier to slide back and forth. That's something I'm going to put off until later. I've been really wanting to start on the interior of this car. As everybody knows, it's got white leather interior, basically pleather, and I'm not a big fan of white. Despise it, especially fake white leather. It's cracking, it looks like crap. So I've been on the fence about what I want to do with it. Obviously the seats are going to get taken out. I'm going to take them and have them done professionally, rewrapped and everything like that. But the door panels and everything like that, I've been on the fence about what to do with those. So I finally figured out what I want to do and the color scheme I want to go with. So to get you guys all on track, so door panels are white, seats are white, everything else is black trim. I do not like white, obviously. So the door panels are actually going to be covered in a tan. This is just a vinyl. The original fake leather is just a vinyl leather substitute. Not very good looking. So I already recovered one panel just to see how it would look, and I think I like it. The seats are actually going to be a darker brown. So it's going to be a two or three toned interior if you want to. The seats will be a darker brown. The door panels are going to be a tan, and the black carpeting, black trim molding, stuff like that. So I already did one panel, and we're going to do the other panel on the rear side, have the rear section done. And then the doors are going to take a little bit longer, and then there's a knee bar underneath the dash I'll have to take out, and that's quite a undertaking to take all the bolts out. So the whole bottom half of the dash has to come out to have that recovered. So that's probably going to be the last part of that project. I'm going to try to get the door panels done. They probably will not all get done today, but we'll at least get that one back panel done to show you guys how I do it. Not saying the way I do it is right, but there's a million other ways to do it, and this is the way I found works the easiest. And that's even with me watching a few other videos to see some of the little tweaks and stuff to do to it to make it fit right. So here we go. Okay guys, so here is our little side panel out the back of this Cabriolet. Actually the speaker mounts to this, 4 little bolts comes through there, that grill to the front. So what they do from factory, they take this, all this is a little piece of like fiberboard, and they will take that vinyl, lay it onto like a press, and press down, and it gives the fake line, the fake stitching, stuff like that. And then they wrap it over the back, staple and glue it. That line right there, I don't really care for that. I'm not putting it back. So I will rip this off. I will trim off all the adhesive and stuff underneath of it. The only thing that's behind this vinyl leather, or whatever you want to call it, is this cheap little foam. It is dry rotted, it is crumbling, it's flaking, it's crap. Super thin. What I got is like a cotton backing. I'm going to glue to this panel after I clean all this stuff off, and then we'll lay our new vinyl over top of it, and we'll go from there. So let's get going. Okay guys, we got that all cleaned up. I just want to get most of that residue from where they'd stamped on that imprint. There's going to be like a cotton padding on here, so it won't show through. So as long as I got most of it off there, I'm pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do now, take this, we'll set this to the side. This is just a cotton batting. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it. It's what I'm going to say is the cotton backing. You can use the foam. They have different types of stuff to use. This was just what I found. It seems to be working pretty good so far. So what I'm going to do is lay my panel over top. I mean, luckily I already did one, so this is a pretty good size already. I will cut down so I don't have too much excess. I will spray the front side of this panel, and then I will spray the cotton, and then I will lay this on top of it, press it down really firm, hold it down, and once it is fully stuck, I will go around and completely trim as flush as possible around every single side, because I do not want this stuff to overlap over the back. When you're putting a vinyl on, you're going to want to wrap it over to the back side, but for this stuff, all I want is that little bit of cushion on the front. And that's just going to make it feel a little bit more plush after it's all together. So here we go. Okay guys, so there we go, we got our cotton batting on here, and the only reason I'm putting this on here is just to add a little bit more, make it a little bit more plush or softer or something, instead of just a piece of wood with vinyl over top of it. So this is just gonna add a little bit of cushion. There's other stuff you can buy, there's foam padding you can buy, there's tons of different items to do it, so this is not the only way to do it, obviously. This is just what I'm doing. So you can find, they have rolls of foam and stuff. You can roll out and trim it down and it does just as good or even better than this. But yeah, I do my projects on a budget, and I get the best I can get for within the budget I set for myself, and I think this will do just fine for what we need. So let's get this vinyl laid on here. Okay, here we go. Now I do not want to cut a lot of extra. Let me move this back a little bit. I don't want to cut too much extra on this because I don't want to waste it. There it is. So I'm gonna take my panel, I'll lay it face down on there. Now this is basically folded in half. So you got two pieces right here. This one looks a little bit better for wrinkles. Unfortunately, when they're rolled up on there, they tend to get a lot of wrinkles, especially vinyl. Make sure my cutting board is. Now, when you're measuring this out, you want a good bit of overhang, so because you're going to fold this over onto the back as you go. So I will give it at least a ½ inch, top and bottom and all sides. Guesstimate a ½ inch, if you will. We'll go ahead and cut this down. They make scissors and stuff for cutting this stuff, but I'm too cheap to buy it, so I'm just using a regular razor blade on the best I can. I'm gonna set this off to the side. Okay, there is our chunk of vinyl. Now we are gonna flip it over, find out which side's got the least amount of. There we go, that one looks pretty good. We will lay our panel down. Perfect. Now I will trim a little bit of the excess off when I get ready to start doing the tucking and everything. But I'm gonna trim off what I don't need right now. Okay, there's another extra piece. Sit that over there. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do is go ahead and glue this down to the vinyl. And we can get it all pressed out, get the wrinkles out of it first. And then I will start going around trimming off some of this excess that I don't need. And then we will start the slicing and the release slices so we can start tucking it. So I always, see what? I am using a Gorilla Glue spray adhesive, heavy duty. It's got really great bonding agent. So far so good, it works great. Thought I'd give it a try and we'll see how it goes. And this is indoor-outdoor use, so it is waterproof supposedly. So what I would do, I will spray down the vinyl first, and then I will spray down this panel too. I give it a few seconds after spraying it so it builds up some tack, because when it starts drying is when it starts getting really tacky, and that's when you can actually glue it down. So we're gonna go ahead and spray this, then we're gonna spray this, and we'll get them put together, and then we'll start our trimming. Give it a good shake. A little excess glue off this thing. So one thing that sucks about using spray adhesive is it gets everywhere, all over your fingers and stuff. So we're gonna give a light coat to this, just to let it go for a few seconds, let it get some tack going on. Spray our panel. You just want a light coat on it because you're just gluing it to the batting on this panel. Make sure you get all the way around those edges real good, because that's where you're going to have the most problem of your covering coming up, around any of the little edges and creases and everything like that. So make sure you get those edges really good. Okay, set that there. There you go. Press it down, make sure it gets fully seated on any of these openings and everything. Make sure it has full contact on that front. And you can gently lift it up if you want. There we go. And rub your hand over the front lightly. Don't pull on it because you might pull it loose and you don't want to misalign it if you already got a line. So we were lucky enough to get most of those creases out, which is good. Actually going to turn out pretty good. Okay, so we'll flip it back over. Now I am just going to trim the excess off of this. So I'm going to leave about, ½ an inch to an inch over all the way around. Like some of these edges are already fine. That top's already got a good bit of distance right here. We're just going to go around the edges and trim some of that excess off. Okay, now we're going to leave this speaker hole for the last thing we do. So what you're going to want to do is when you're coming to any corners like this, you're going to need Let me see if I can reposition this camera so you can see it a little bit better. There we go, that's better. So when you come into these corners right here, you're gonna wanna put stress release in them, because if you try to pull this over, you're gonna put a kink in it somewhere, and it's gonna automatically wanna kink wherever there's a corner at. So I just start right here. When you're coming into a soft corner like this, where it's not really to a point, but it's kind of rounded, I start right in the corner and just go straight out. That way you're able to just fold this back, and that leaves you in a real nice tucked in corner right there in the seam. So when you're coming to any pointed corners like here, a real tight 90-degree, so what you do, fold your fabric over this way, right? And start at that point and come back at a real sharp angle backwards. You fold it back, and then you got this little flappy going the opposite way, right? So then you would come on this side, do the same thing, start at that tip corner, real sharp backwards. So then you got like a little arrow at the tip, right? And then you are just gonna wanna trim off any of that excess right there, leave a little tab. Don't have to be huge. We will go a little bit smaller with that. That's good enough. So it's basically when you fold this over and then you pull this over, it pulls that corner tightly. And then you would fold this over on top of that, keeps that corner together. So we will come over here to this corner. Now this corner, we're gonna wanna make several stress reliefs from it. So you're gonna wanna come out, don't go right up to the flat edge of it. You wanna come out just a hair bit, enough so when it comes up over the whole thickness of this, it's gonna cover it. So you're gonna start out just a hair bit past, slice out, slice out, slice out, so on, so on. Basically until you get to a flat area. So we would pull this one, once we glue this, we pull this over, pull this one over, pull this one over, pull this one over, so on, so on. And then you get a nice rounded corner when you flip it over. Same thing within this really light bend right here. We're gonna add a few stress reliefs because it goes flat. Add a little bend right here. Basically until you get to the point to where it starts to flatten back out. So a little corner, stress relief, stress relief. When it starts to go flat again, you would stop. So we will add a little bit of stress relief up here with this light corner. And you gotta do those, and those are good. So on this corner right here, we're gonna wanna do the same thing. We'll flip it back, point, slice back, flip it forward, point, slice back, get your little arrow, and we're gonna trim off, cut that a little bit further, trim off part of this arrow. There you go, so you have your little point right there to flip over. Now we got these tabs in here, and that's what mounts this thing. So we're gonna pull that over and just give us a little slice of where it wants to be. So when we pull this back, we don't have to worry about finagling it around these clips. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut the reliefs out for them right now. Same thing down here. Pull back. I think my blade's starting to get a little bit dull. We'll slice out that little relief. That should be good, get around that. Same thing down here and so on, so on. So we'll go all the way around, do all of these. Just like that. turn back to another straight corner, pull back, slice corner over, pull back, tip corner slice back, trim off excess. Now you can trim off a little bit more excess if you need to. It's all on how long you think you need it. And one more, I think. Yep, right here. So we'll just give a little stress relief to that. Now, flat door panels like this are always the easiest to cover. I mean, there's no curves to them, there's no contours. Makes it super, super, super easy to cover them. You can also use a higher density foam or backing, which gives you a little bit more plushness when you're recovering the door panel. It makes it softer, cushier. Okay, so we got that done. All of our stress reliefs are cut as far as we should need right now. Move some of this stuff over, clean it up. And we're gonna take our glue, and I just do it one edge at a time. You can go around the whole thing, but by the time you get to the end, the glue might have already started seating too far for it to be tacky anymore. So I just start at the end. And you're gonna want to, when you start, I'll show you. You wanna spray it on the fabric and the panel itself too. Do it one part at a time. So, now you want to let it set for a few seconds, let it tack up. Now you're going to want to pull up and hold it so that edging along that panel seats. And we'll pull it tightly, push it down, tap, tap, tap. Make sure that glue and that fiber is seated in there, and there's one piece. And we're just going to move our way around. Pour our little corner right here up, push it down, tap, tap, a little bit of tackiness. We're gonna pull our big piece right here, pull it up, make sure that edge is seated, push it down, make sure it's tapped, push around the edges. Perfect. Back to the side. Now here is the corners I was telling you about. We put those stress reliefs in it. So you'll pull one piece up at a time, pull it tightly, tap it down, another piece up tightly, tap down, another piece up tightly, tap down, so on, till you get back to your flat edging. Now here's our little flat piece. We'll pull it up, pull tightly, tap down, put a little bit of glue on it. Okay. That's the one annoying part about spray adhesive. It gets everywhere and it starts becoming a big issue. So all your little stress release, pull up, tap down, big piece, pull up, tap down, make sure that edge is completely flush. There we go, we're cooking with gas now. So and spray, spray, spray. Okay. home stretch. Here we go. Unfortunately, I think this is gonna be one of my longer videos, but I usually try to do the time lapses and stuff, and I think this one was better just to me to talk it through and let you guys watch me do it, because, oh well. Pour it tight, tap. Oh, that stuff gets sticky quick. Last piece. Go up, stick down. Okay, so the only thing we got left to do is trim out our speaker hole. We will do the same thing as we did on these really light corners. Slice through the center and do stress release all the way around, and you will spray around it and then tuck those back just like we did in these areas right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up, and I'll bring you back when I'm done with that. There you go, guys. Nice tan wrapped. Now I could have put a little bit more batting behind this. I could have got the actual foam to go behind it, but that actually didn't matter to me, to be honest. You can do whatever you want if you decide to do a project like this. These panels on these cars are flat anyways. There's not a lot of contours to them, so being a flat panel doesn't bother me. Now, if you wanted to, you could go get some ribbing or something like that, glue it on top of that batting and your own design before you put this over top of it, and then put this over top, and your design would pop through and give you a little bit more contours. You could put a little symbol right here, whatever you want. It's completely up to you. Your imagination is the limit on that. I've seen people take like a foam insert of a certain design, put it underneath of this, and then put their vinyl over top or their fabric or whatever they're using, because it'll make a 3D standout of that. But overall, compared to what that was, that's a lot better. I already got the speaker hole cut out, the holes for the king, the window crank. You can see on the back how I did the speaker hole. Trim your relief, or cut your reliefs in there, and then glue them backwards. I'm going to get the speaker grill put back on this, and then we're going to get slapped back in the car, and I'll give you guys a look at it. So here we go. And there we go, guys. So there's a little spot of residual glue right there above the window crank. You can see I got to clean off, but otherwise I think that turned out amazing. You can see the difference between the white and the tan. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the white. The tan, I love that black and that tan going together. I just think it's amazing. Picture the back seats being a darker brown and the tan door panels, and picture the rest of the car. Replace the top on the car. The tarp will go from black to a tan top. I think this would probably go from, the inside cover would go from a white to a black. And I think it would look amazing. So I got both the back panels done, as you can see. That was the first side I showed you I'd already done. I think it turned out amazing. Like I said, I could have put a little bit more padding behind the vinyl if I wanted to. It doesn't make a difference for me either. It doesn't make a difference for me either way if I had more padding behind it or not. So I can't wait. I still got to do the front door panels, the knee pad below the dash, which the front door panels alone are going to take me an all-day project. And then the knee bar is probably going to be a day and a half just to get it out of there and get it all covered and get put back in, and that's another story. So I have a full-time job in between doing all this, so If I don't post videos or any updates for the few days, it's because I'm busy with work and other projects. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't, jump over to Facebook and like my Facebook page, hockinghillsgarage@gmail.com. Or you can message me at hockinghillsgarage@gmail.com. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.